Yo, next up we got how Trippie Redd blackballed himself. Did he? I don't know.
2017-2018, Trippie Redd was fresh off of his breakout album, a massive hit with the late XXXTentacion, released multiple songs that would later go platinum, and was even rumored to be on Drake's smash hit God's Plan. At the time, it seemed like he was on the path to superstardom, and in an era where every rapper coming up had tattoos on their face, reckless behavior, and clout stunts, Trippie Redd was the only rapper who escaped and found further success. He was the one that got away for SoundCloud rappers. But today, it looks like the fall-off reaper is coming for him as well. As years later, it's not looking so good for Trippie. In fact, you could even say it's pretty bad, leaving the question, how did Trippie Redd go from being one of the most promising young artists to falling off so hard his own fans aren't even sure if his career can be revived, all in the span of 5 years? My name is Rashad Bashir, and this is how Trippie Redd destroyed his career. But of course, before we talk about how his career went downhill, how to even get one to begin with. Trippie Redd has been making music for over a decade now, since he was young, and when he inked his first record deal in 2016, it made sense. Trippie had the perfect look, dyed dreads, face tats, and high energy. But what separated him was his unique style of emo rap, where he blended trap with alternative rap, and using that technique, not only was he able to create his own sound, but it also helped him come up. So in 2017, Trippie burst on the scene with songs like Poles 1469, Dark Knight Gummo with Travis Scott, F Love with XXXTentacion, Love Scars, and more. Some of that music, like a song with X, turned out to be timeless, surpassing billions of streams, and their song is the most streamed song on SoundCloud ever. Furthermore,
the most streamed SoundCloud song ever? That is a crazy ass accolade.
And had a lot of overlapping fans. So after X passed, a lot of fans looked to Trippie to carry on the SoundCloud rap wave, as it was still new, and they were right. There was a lot of gas in the tank for the genre. So X's passing somewhat served as a passing of the torch moment to Trippie, and after the incident, Trippie began blowing up.
Bruh, when he passed, bruh, I went up 1 million followers.
Trippie's stock went up. He would charge $100,000 for features and shows, and was dropping hits. However, a young Trippie may not have realized it, but looking back, this was his peak musically. And instead of taking the torch from X, Trippie's originality came to a halt. And as an artist, this is where his career would slowly begin showing signs of a downfall. And it actually—
I mean, rappers only make good music for like 7 years. After you make music for like 7 years, you done talked about everything. You literally talked about everything. You can't talk. There ain't nothing new to talk about. You ain't. If you find something new after making music for that long, it's not gonna be relatable. I say that.
Actually began with the passing. Although they were in good terms for a long time, after all, they do have the largest song released to SoundCloud ever. When X passed, they were beefing. Trippie called X a woman and said X stole his style.
X the same type of nigga. X too. He a bitch too. That nigga, he stole Ski Mask style. He stole my style. He just collided with his like all these, bro.
So leading up to X's passing, Trippie kept talking smack about him and hating. However, when X passed, Trippie went on live and said, "That's my brother.
Bro, switch up.
Gone," etc. So people were looking at him like, "Weren't you just beefing? You're fake as hell." And this set a trend in his career.
It was probably fake beef, to be honest. It was probably fucking fake beef.
And seeing Trippie Redd as corny. And as you all know, in music, perception is everything. But what a lot of fans don't know is that this was a recurring theme. Trippie Redd has always been one of the most hated artists in the game, and it goes back to the very beginning of his career, where he made a couple decisions that really damaged his reputation. The first being when he started copying Lil Uzi Vert on his song Love Scars, which was a big deal at the time. However, Uzi realized this, so he decided to drop his own song called Love Scars to troll Trippie. And today, this is an Uzi fan classic, while Trippie's isn't as memorable. Trippie wasn't happy about this either, by the way.
Love Scars is gas.
14 stand for 1400. I got love scars on my face, bro. It should never come down to something like this. This should never be a problem right here.
But in the end, he benefited. This was one of the first times Trippie Redd's name was brought up in front
Bro
of people.
said, "Is Trippie even good?" Trippie has a lot of good songs. Trippie has a lot of good songs. Yeah, he has a lot of good songs.
Supporters and streams, and it did eventually become his breakout hit. But it wasn't a good look, and it was the first time he'd be seen as unoriginal. Another trend that would end up haunting him for the rest of his career. And this wasn't the only time Trippie had been embarrassed early into his career either. He infamously got into it with 6ix9ine, of course, and not only did he gain nothing from that beef, he once again got embarrassed bad. So much so that at one point 6ix9ine had given Trippie the beats, overtaken him in popularity, and even stole his girlfriend. But none of that would cost him as much as his next episode. At the end of 2017, Trippie Redd began posting pictures signaling he was linking up with Drake and publicly posted DMs between him and Drake.
Live.
Then rumors began popping up that Trippie was going to be on Drake's song God's Plan.
Listen, man, are you on that Drake song, bro? Because everybody keep asking me about it. Some people say that God's Plan thing, bro. I seen a freestyle of you kind of rap.
No comment. I can't.
You can't talk about it.
And apparently, this is why he started beefing with X, because he chose to be friends with Drake, while Drake and X were beefing, so he could get a feature.
Don't X with Drake because you a clout riding demon.
But academics seem to have an inside source because he suggested that Drake was not happy that Trippie Redd had previewed the song, and that Trippie would be taken off by Drake and OVO.
Heard people were upset, like that snippet that came out on New Year's Eve. I heard OVO is a little bit upset that snippet that you played it or your DJ played at a party, because that was a record for you to work on. You feel me? And like they didn't want it like played like that. You feel me? Other part of that is that because of that, I heard that Drake might not put that record out how we thought it was gonna come out. So that's why I was like, damn, man. That's what I was saying to you, like, yo, you gotta keep it tucked before you really, you know.
It turned out he was right. A couple of days later, the record dropped and Trippie Redd was nowhere to be seen on the song.
Trippie looked sad as fuck. He was like, I didn't know that. Damn. He's like, damn, I'm off the song.
Afterwards, Trippie tried making excuses that he was sick.
He hit me up to finish it. I had a show where it was a venue that holds like 3,000 people, and it was like I had 2 shows that night. I had packed it out twice, so I had to perform, go upstairs, change my outfit, and come back down to a whole new crowd, and I had the flu. Hell yeah. So after that, it was like my voice was gone. I was up, sleepy. So that shit.
It wasn't in the cards.
Yeah.
But the version with him leaked, so he was exposed for lying, and eventually he did explain the truth, explaining that his DJ played it at a party to impress some girls.
I went to like a party in New York and like put like I love Trippie Redd in front of the guys playing beat, and then the song was about to come on, and then he turned it off. But it's like,
and Drake's team was mad.
Mad when he heard the snippet, or he didn't care?
It wasn't him, it was his team. He just wanted me to finish it.
So because Trippie Redd's DJ decided to impress 5 girls at a party, he lost out on a huge song. The song
millions
went 8
of
times
dollars.
platinum, stayed on Billboard for 36
Millions
weeks,
of dollars.
generated millions of dollars, and was the most streamed song of 2018 on all platforms. So yeah, Trippie Redd took quite the L. I don't know why I ordered it that way, but he just fumbled a smash hit. That's all you need to know. Even Drake had a laugh.
To Trippie, and I was like, yo, maybe this could work for your album. And he was obviously, you know, caught up, busy, whatever, doing his thing. And I know people punish him for that. They shouldn't punish him for that.
But it wasn't anything but a minor dud, as from 2017 to 2019, Trippie Redd had a monster commercial run, selling millions of records with a career high of 104,000 in 2019 with a Love Letter to You 4. But during this massive success is where the cracks in Trippie Redd's career began to form, and where his downfall actually started. So in 2019, things were looking great for Trippie. He was fresh off of an album that just sold 85,000 first week, a Love Letter to You 4, and it was looking like he was gearing up for another album filled with hits. Instead, what ensued would worry fans. On August 9th, 2019, Trippie Redd dropped exclamation mark, an homage album to XXXTentacion's question mark album, but it only sold 50K.
I never noticed that.
But
I didn't know that. I didn't notice that.
And fans clowned on him and the album like crazy, saying the Playboi Carti feature was the only good thing about the album. And the hate got so bad that Trippie Redd removed it from the album, which just made the hate even worse. Because now fans knew he was jealous. And once again, it was another blow to his image. However, Trippie Redd said watch this and dropped a Love Letter to You 4, selling 104,000 units in the first week. And this ended up becoming his highest selling project of all time, silencing all the haters. And he was back in the position before, where he didn't really have much to prove. However, in 2020, there began to be signs of Trippie not being able to do so well commercially, once again when his album Pegasus, quote-unquote, flopped, selling 61K.
Because Pegasus sucked. That album sucked. That album wasn't good. And 60K is not a flop. Look at what people are literally, but bro, your favorite rappers are literally selling like 15K nowadays, 30K. Bro, album sales are not the same.
Week. which is pretty good, but once again, his fans
Pegasus
believed he could sell a
sucked.
lot more. And of course, he didn't. But if you're wondering why people consider these albums flops, it was mostly
Aubrey's
because they weren't
Ray
memorable
Graham.
and didn't have high sales, but also because he suffers from middle child syndrome in the rap game, which is the real reason why fans have such high expectations for him. He's between two levels of artists. He's not quite on XXXTentacion's, Lil Uzi, or Juice WRLD's level, today at least, but he's also not on the level of the SoundCloud rappers either, like Lil Pump, Perp, or Lil Xan. So he gets the expectations of one of those big artists, but can't really compete with them, making him a lone wolf. He has half of both. He doesn't have as much of an impact
That's an interesting analysis. I never thought about that. That's an interesting analysis.
and was never that big of a gimmick rapper, and he never leaned into either. Another reason why Trippie Redd started losing his popularity was one of the reasons he started gaining popularity in the first place, and it became evident right after Pegasus dropped. Trippie was always experimenting. For example, he
Yeah,
dropped an
he's
extended
always
version of
experimenting with
Pegasus
new
Travis
shit.
Barker that was rock music, Neon Shark versus Pegasus, which sold 20K. And because it sounded different, fans didn't like it.
I
and
didn't like
thought
that
really
album. That
poorly,
album wasn't
but
good
to be
either.
honest, it was pretty bad.
That
But at
album
the
was
time,
trash.
None of this seemed like a big deal because remember, 60K is not bad. It's actually really good and way above many other artists. After all,
Exactly.
he did sell 100K as well, which is extremely good. What he didn't realize is all of this would one day add up and he'd have to pay the price. Coincidentally, fans actually warned him of this. A fan named Jake wrote an article that shared the frustration of many Trippie Redd fans titled The Downfall of Trippie Redd, where he said he warned Trippie, explaining, despite the commercial success, Trippie's past 3 albums were lackluster and just not very good. So fans were trying to let Trippie know that they weren't really rocking with these albums, but he ignored them because of inflated commercial numbers. In the last sentence of the article, the fan wrote, Trippie's next album may be his last chance to redeem himself. And boy oh boy, actually I can't believe I just said that. Trippie Redd redeemed
Boy
himself.
oh boy.
Trippie wasn't about to let
Boy
his career
oh
simmer down
boy.
like that. And after selling 20,000 with Travis Barker in the beginning of the year, in December, he previewed a new snippet from his bedroom with an entirely different sound called Mr. Rage. Then the snippet blew up through TikTok. Eventually,
Mr.
Trippie
Rage.
shared that Playboi Carti would be joining him on the song as well. And in May of 2021, it dropped, along with the music video. It would go on to become the most memorable rap song of the year, and there was so much hype, he was even able to capitalize off of it by dropping an album entirely in the sound of the song, Rage, called Trippie Night. It was a huge success, selling 82K first week, and he finally got a Lil Uzi feature, who he was a big fan of, and even Drake blessed him with a feature. After that, in March of 2022, it was announced that he signed a 3-album deal for $30 million. And just like that, his
Damn.
career was back on track, and in terms of numbers, better than ever. But it wouldn't last long. In 2022, Trippie Redd was once again being clowned for copying his peers, but this time it wasn't about Lil Uzi, it was about Playboi Carti for copying his look completely. And I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to act like Trippie Redd didn't just straight up copy Carti. He had the same dreads as Carti, he was wearing the same Rick Owens boots as Carti, posing like Carti, taking pictures like Carti, and of course, acting
yeah.
like Carti. This
Nigga look like Gay Vampire too. He's definitely copying Cardi.
type of behavior made it so that fans would never give Trippie credit, even when he was original. And you can't blame him when he was acting like some random clone on SoundCloud with like 4,000 followers. Copying Cardi solidified the idea in fans' heads that Trippie Redd was corny and he wasn't really a tastemaker or trendsetter, but rather someone who just rides the waves of other artists, even if that wasn't entirely true. Like how he was a pioneer in emo rap and popularized Rage. Of
He keeps
course,
using that
he did
same
just come
clip.
off selling 82,000 first week and smash hit, so he was kind of just chilling. Until then, his career was stagnating as everything he released was just not that good, and it was the same type of music over and over again. He had stopped pushing boundaries, so when he became original again with Mr. Rage, you'd think he'd continue to push the boundaries and try new stuff, right? Nope. Instead, Trippie decided to try out a new unoriginal style, a really bad copy of Chief Keef's old style, on his new project Mansion Music. In the beginning of 2023,
Mansion Music was fucking ass. That album sucked, dude. That album was so bad, dude. I think when when we reacted to that album, I think I gave that album like a 4 or 5 or something like that. That album was not good. That album wasn't it. There were a couple good songs in there, but that album wasn't it.
Trippie dropped Mansion Music, and once again, it was very unoriginal. And unfortunately, me and even his biggest fans agreed the album was very bad. But how he really set himself up for failure in the public eye, because to be honest, people had gotten used to bad Trippie Redd albums at this point. Mansion Music was 90% features. So even if the album sold over 100K, everyone would say it was only because of the features. And if it sold poorly, which it did, they would just clown on him even more than usual because the features should have boosted the sales. It sold 50K. Except this time, it wasn't like Trippie Redd just dropped a trash album. It was Trippie Redd is falling off. So it was clear his next project was a make or break project. I guess he decided he had to pull out the big guns, and that was his highly successful album series, A Love Letter to You, and announced his next project would be A Love Letter to You 5. Going into the rollout for the album, Trippie was very arrogant. For him, it was a guaranteed commercial win, as all the other A Love Letter to You projects did very well, and he explained it would be his best work.
Closing in on new heights. Like, I feel like, you know, I've been climbing up a ladder this whole time, and now I'm at the top of the ladder, and now it's a staircase. I'm just walking up the staircase. It's like, you know, I improved, you feel me? I ain't got to do too much arm and leg work. I'm just, you know, footing it up the steps.
These were very big words and they set high expectations. A Love Letter to You was his first breakout project. Love Letter 3 sold 85,000 and the fourth album sold 104,000, his highest selling project of all time. So for the fifth and final one, people were expecting something special, and Trippie knew that. So he took 4 years to deliver the final album. Except for such a special series of his rollout wasn't what you'd expect. Although he took 4 years, he didn't really promote the album at all because he just thought it was a classic series, so he didn't need to. And when he did mention it, he just said it was going to be his best work ever, which raised the expectations to the max. He had a horrible promotional strategy as well. Instead of previewing snippets and trying to go crazy on TikTok, to promote his album, Trippie Redd made an apology post for cheating on his ex-girlfriend at the time on Instagram the day before the album was set to drop. However, months later, they were seen vacationing together like nothing ever happened.
Damn.
And in August, when
his posts from like a few years ago were getting like 1.5 million likes. And that one was, I mean, that 100K likes still crazy, but like, that's a big shift.
Album dropped, it was far from his best work. In fact, it wasn't even close. He made a desperate attempt to try to bring back his old emo sound.
I'm not trying to be experimental with this project. I'm really just trying to drop straight Trippie Redd hits.
But it didn't work. It was too repetitive and it didn't hit the same as his old music. For starters, there were no hit singles, which usually is what carries projects commercially. And it took so long.
That's what you need. If there's not a single in a project, you have to start over.
Up that the hype was completely
there has to be a single.
When the album did drop, it wasn't great.
There has to be one standout song.
All the songs sounded the same and it had no re-listen value.
It feels so non-essential. For sure, again, this is his softest project yet, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's playing to his strengths. I'm feeling a strong 4 on this one.
But here's the worst part. Trippie had tried to recapture the sound of the old love letters, but his voice had changed so much, it didn't work. Instead, it sounded really weird and nasally, and fans have actually said they agree. Unfortunately for Trippie, the majority of his hits were from when he was a teenager years ago. Back then, he was young and his vocal range was expansive. But today, his voice has changed through age and eating a lot of grass. And a lot of the melodies he used to be able to sing, he can't anymore. For example, a fan went to one of his shows and explained Trippie could no longer hit the notes that he once could when he was younger. So when the first week's sales for A Love Letter to You 5 were announced, it was no surprise that they were abysmal, sitting at 38K, the lowest selling project of his since 2017, when he was coming up. So no matter how you look at it, it was a commercial failure.
Gotcha.
32K in 2023 is not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, like, yeah, no, people are literally selling like 10, 12, like 13, 15K. Like albums don't sell like they used to because you can't do all the bundling bullshit. And because of TikTok, the rate that people can focus at. People are stupid now. People can't listen to full albums anymore. People listen to like one song and then leave.
This to be his highest selling project of all time. And remember when I said Trippie Redd would have to pay the price for dropping all those mediocre albums? He was paying it. And from then on, it became a trend to hate on Trippie Redd. And Trippie accidentally fed the fire. His response to the hate was really bad. Rather than just say, hey, I'm gonna drop better music or something along those lines, he decided to brag and then try to gain fan sympathy. It started when a fan on Discord explained Trippie Redd has 222 platinum songs, which is crazy by the way, putting him above Lil Uzi, Playboi Carti, Lil Durk, Polo G, and more. Trippie decided to post it to Instagram and gloat, and then throw a pity party for himself on Instagram, and I'm not even gonna read it. You can go ahead. It was a horrible look because he's not a victim, and the reaction for most people was, what? What's funny is, it wasn't just the internet rubbing the low sales in Trippie Redd's face, it was Trippie himself. and here's how. A few years ago, Trippie Redd made fun of rappers for only selling 30K first week and more by saying this.
Need all the C-list rappers. We about
Literally,
to create Avengers of trash. We gonna sell what? If we all put our 30,000 first week together, we gonna make a bill.
Ty.
Gotcha.
And there's a reason why they say to always remain humble, because your day may come. And Trippie's came when he sold 30K. The video made him a laughing stock because he was now in a position where he was clowning on himself.
I've seen this same Adam 22 clip like 13 times, 14 times in his video.
Where Cardi joined the laughter by accidentally liking a tweet of the video. For a normal artist, it might be seen as a mistake, but Cardi doesn't really give the fans anything, so simply liking a tweet was enough for people to take it as a diss on Trippie. And the fallout from this album and damage to Trippie's reputation and career would be catastrophic. Trippie began getting cancelled when he made a TikTok saying a video using one of his album songs.
That's what I'm saying, Mitch.
With the most views would be getting $20,000 from him.
I don't know,
the challenge
Spy.
commenced, and when
I don't know.
the user got
We'll
the
see.
most views on his album, he wasn't paid. So he was scammed by Trippie. Of course, fans were mad at Trippie for finessing them because they felt taken advantage of. And the theory was that Trippie's album flopped, so it no longer was in his budget to finance the giveaway. And even though he made it right later, it was after he got called out, and the damage was already done. And all of this raised the question, could Trippie Redd ever get back the big numbers he used to pull? Well, fans were about to find out. With a Love Letter to You 5 selling 38K, fans were saying Trippie was falling back into the underground, which, although it was an exaggeration and a joke, did have some validity because it was a clear sign he was falling off. But those
underground rappers ain't selling more than like 400 units. Bruh.
Low sales were a signal. What happened right after it was proof. Earlier that
year,
Trippie Redd was going on a nationwide tour. However, soon after the abysmal album he dropped, A Love Letter to You 5, a lot of the dates were getting canceled.
These tour dates are getting canceled, as you can see by that red big button right there.
Trippie claimed he was sick.
I don't know if you can be sick or even like predict that you're gonna be sick for another couple of months. Like this starts in September and ends all the way at the end of October, it looks like, or early October. So
but fans knew what was up.
if he's canceling even these tour dates at the end, it probably means that he's just not selling them pretty well. Like there's a bunch of seats there, maybe too big of arenas or stadiums or just venues.
They realized that he just wasn't selling tickets. The sad reality was no one wanted to see Trippie Redd perform live, especially not after that album he just dropped. He tried to make more excuses, blaming
and he's old and can't sing no more.
Trippie Redd here. Just wanted to update you guys. So you guys have been talking about tour and why I canceled it. You want an explanation? So boom, I'm dropping a project named St. Michael, right? What if I was to tell you that's my son's name and I canceled tour because I had to deliver my son?
For a month?
Life be lifing. Y'all sitting there bashing me, saying all this crazy stuff.
But tours take months of planning, so do pregnancies. So this was obviously a lie, because if it was the real reason, he would have never planned it in the first place.
Exactly,
it seemed like
nigga, what?
Catch a break. After the tour was canceled, he decided to do one show for the fans, the one in LA, and it was horrible, according to fans who wanted their money back.
Came to see Trippie Redd, super duper big fans. And then 45 minutes later, the concert ends. And I don't think we got our money's worth. When the concert ended, he didn't say bye. He didn't say thank you. He just put like the little heart thing up and started walking off. The lights came on and everyone was stuck in their seat. Like, what the is that? Some people have been there since
explaining Trippie came out 2 hours late, then hardly performed.
7:30. He didn't come out till 9:30. So they sat there for like 2 hours listening to a DJ. And low key, I'm like, this is really hurt my heart because I waited a long time to come to this concert. I'm sure everyone else did. It wasn't as packed as it should have been. I'm not gonna.
Bitch, you got scammed. Sounds like you got scammed.
Why? So maybe he was depressed about the ticket sales, but still he should have gave the ones who did come a show, and it didn't feel like he wanted to be there, and that was like the saddest thing. If you were there,
which just made them really mad.
Trippie Redd, you are a fucking fraud. You are a liar. You are a fucking scam. Okay, I'm outside the Kia Forum. Apparently, one night of your fucking 20-night tour that you canceled out of fucking nowhere, and LA's the only show. I can see why it's the only fucking show. You don't want to disappoint your fucking fans.
But to be fair, Trippie Redd did suffer a lot of personal issues that ended up overlapping with his career. especially the peers that he was once friends with that are no longer here. To me, a lot of Trippie Redd's early popularity came from being associated with people such as XXXTentacion and beefing mostly with people like 6ix9ine, but even X. Today, he can't rely on that. That community no longer exists, and he isn't equipped with the marketing pedigree to market himself all alone. So his career has suffered, and because of that, Trippie Redd's mental health.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all in that your answer to that is all in like the middle of the video, from him trying to be like Cardi, bruh. He trying to be like Cardi. He's trying to do like the mysterious fucking, ooh, I'm a mysterious guy. I'm not gonna, you don't know, next time you're gonna see me do the fucking Playboy Cardi shit. But no, you can't. It don't work for anybody other than Playboy Cardi.
Fans, losing XXXTentacion and Juice WRLD was sad because they were artists people listened to and had an actual connection with. But for Trippie, he lost 2 close friends and in an interview explained he was the last of his kind.
Everybody from my era is gone. They all passed away. Everybody that was, you know, coming from the time period I came from, I was the last one. They was kind of before me, but
it was even worse because they all came up together.
It's all the same era. It was the sad music. You know, it's kind of like very like upsetting, depressing, disappointing. Like, yeah.
And he could no longer talk to them.
Kind of took a big toll on me though, because it was just like those were people I could call and talk to, and you know, they would really relate to me versus anybody else. Just music-wise too, I feel like we were all tapped in with each other as far as the music, and we got to, you know, learn from each other too, because we were all a part of the same wave. So.
And after all those L's, earlier this year, knowing his career was in jeopardy,
I've seen that video.
Decided that he'd try and bounce back by dropping another album, St. Michael's. But it was an even worse disaster. It failed to chart on Billboard and only sold 7K first week. His first album to fail to make
I don't even remember that album.
Safe to say, it was a huge fall from grace. My theory is since Trippie Redd had signed his $30 million 3-album deal, he was forced to put out the album. Since it's only a 3-album contract if he recoups $30 million, and considering his least selling albums of all time are his most recent albums, and it doesn't look like he'll be back at the numbers he was.
Nigga's about to be a slave is what it sounds like.
Put out another album, which flopped even harder, much harder. It's just clear his career is in pieces right now, and he's doing his best to try and pick it all up, but it's just not working. Once again, karma is coming for him. A couple years ago, Trippie Redd said Nicki Minaj fell off.
Bro, Nicki Minaj really fell off. Oh God.
Hey,
yeah,
I got my own fan base. You know what I'm saying? So it don't even matter what I say about them. At the end of the day, my fans still gonna listen to me.
Nah.
In 2023, Trippie Redd sold 7,000. Nicki sold 230,000. To put that in perspective, that's like 33 or 34 times as much as what Trippie sold. It was so horrible that even Trippie Redd's own fans realized he was falling off. On Trippie's subreddit, a fan made a post titled, "I feel like we are witnessing the actual fall off of Trippie Redd." And hundreds of fans agreed. One even said, "Everyone just denying it, but for real, Trippie was on such another level a few years ago. I'm not saying he can't do a good song anymore or anything, but he's still clearly falling off." They even made a poll and agreed. And when your own fans vote and think you've fallen off, you might be falling off. So
you've probably fallen off.
It's clear that Trippie Redd's career is in danger after his 7K sale album. To Trippie, this should be like a fire alarm.
Yeah, no, 7K is unexcusable even in 2023. 7K is crazy. That flopped. That's like triple cardboard, dog.
And clean it up. You probably think I have something against Trippie as well, but I'm actually a fan and I wish him the best. It just seems like he's lost and he doesn't know what type of music to make, and that's why he's in such a tough spot. That's it for this video. I'm Rashad Bashir. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.
Well, damn. Do y'all agree? Is Trippie Redd really falling off? I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see till the next motherfucker out. Let me know what y'all think about it. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Link in the description. Riffs Rash.
I'm on academy. Yeah, I'm on academy.